Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of this tutorial for Experience by Ludovico Einaudi. Here's what we're gonna learn in this part. Alright, so the left hand is gonna be very simple. You're just gonna play 4 notes. F sharp, A, C sharp, and D, which are basically the first notes of the 4 main chords. Okay? F sharp, A, C sharp, D. And you're gonna play that twice. By the way, this symbol means mezzo forte, which means to play it half strong or half loud. So this part is gonna be a little louder than the part before that. In this tutorial, I will slow down the entire song a lot so I can show you what's going on, and also because it's too difficult for me to play it at the original tempo. So I'm slowing it down a bit. I'll just teach you what to play very slowly, and then you speed it up as much as you want. So here's what we're gonna play with the right hand. What you do is, for the first chord, you will play C sharp, A, and C sharp up here in this pattern. So you start on the top C sharp, then you play this A, to lower C sharp, and back to this A. Okay? That's the pattern that you play 4 times for every chord. Like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright? And you just play the left hand on the first note here. Alright? For the second chord, the right hand will not change at all. The left hand will play this A, the right hand will play exactly the same. Also this pattern, with let's call this 3, 2, and 1. Right? You also play 3, 2, 1, 2. Four times. Now for the third chord, it changes. Instead of playing this A as the second note, you will play G sharp as the second note, like so. Okay? So you play these 3 notes for the first and second chord. Then for the third chord, you move this A down to G sharp, these 3 notes. And then for the fourth chord, this will happen. Okay, so there's a lot happening here. First off, what you always do when you play these 3 notes is mostly emphasize this top note, okay? It's also marked in the sheet music by this symbol, which is called tenuto. It means to hold a note. In this case, we're not necessarily holding this note though, we're just emphasizing it. And this top note is basically playing a melody. For the first 3 chords, it's a little boring, it's just C sharp. But then for the last chord, it changes to C sharp, B, C sharp, D. And you probably recognize this melody from the intro. And now those 4 notes are going to be the top note of this pattern. Okay? And the bottom 2 notes, they'll always stay the same. They will be D and A. Okay? So the first chord was C sharp and A. Then you moved to C sharp and G sharp. And now you move both notes up to D and A. And the top note moves from C sharp to B to C sharp to D. Alright? So it'll sound like this. You start on C sharp. Alright? First pattern. Then, instead of playing C sharp as the first note, you play B as the first note. D and A stay the same. Then you again move the top note back to C sharp. And then up to D. So the pattern always stays the same. The bottom two notes also stay the same, just the top note plays a melody basically. And now you just apply this pattern. 3, 2, 1, 2. Move the top note. 3, 2, 1, 2. Move it again. 3, 2, 1, 2. And again. So it'll sound like this. Alright? So the fourth chord is not that easy with the right hand, especially if you want to play it in the original tempo. So again, let's listen to the right hand. Alright, and this entire thing repeats once. Alright, so you play the whole thing once more, but on the second time you play the fourth chord, it'll sound like this. Alright, so the only thing that changes is the very last note you play won't be this A. You won't go up, down, up, but you will go A, D, and C sharp as the very last note. Okay? Like this. Okay? When you come from this D. Alright? That's on the second time you play these four chords. Okay, so let's listen to that once more with the left hand. Very slowly. Alright, and that's the entire part. Now, I would not recommend to speed up this part as much as possible right away. I would recommend you to learn the entire song first and then try to speed up certain parts, because it gets very difficult to play these parts very fast without mistakes. So when you're comfortable with this tempo and you play everything flawlessly, then you can try to speed it up and try to emphasize this top note the most. Don't play them all the same, but try to emphasize this one. Especially on the last chord, when you basically play the melody from the intro here. Alright, that's it for part 2. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next part.